We're going to make 2 cuts, one here in this corner, and one here in that corner. If you didn't get all the way through this, you'll just have to have someone help you to hold this. Very carefully cut the rest of it off. We're going to cut the rest of this rubber off with a razor blade. You can leave a little bit of this center rib. It'll help us align the carrier bushing later on. If you ordered the carrier with the JXB Tunnel Brace, you're going to have the following hardware. You're going to have 2 bolts that attach the 2 halves of the carrier together. You're going to have 4 isolation dampers. You're going to have 2 fender washers with larger holes in the middle, 2 fender washers with smaller holes in the middle, and then 2 regular size washers with larger holes. Then you're going to have the 2 bolts that are going to attach this to the tunnel brace. If you ordered without the JXB Tunnel Brace, and instead of the 2 washers with the large holes, you're going to instead have 2 lock nuts. Now I'll show you the easy installation route, which is with the JXB Tunnel Brace. Basically what this brace is going to allow us to do is assemble almost the entire thing together before we go up and attach it to the drive shaft. So we're actually going to be able to assemble the bottom of the carrier onto the tunnel brace, and then the tunnel brace has special holes here and here that'll allow us to access these bolts which hold the 2 halves together. The stock tunnel brace does not have these holes or any way to access it. You'll notice on the bottom of the carrier that the holes are labeled. So these are for the OEM or the JXB Tunnel Brace. This will be if you are installing without the JXB Tunnel Brace, you have to use these holes, the 2 OEM Tunnel Brace holes. You can also technically install the JXB Tunnel Brace using these holes, but I don't recommend it because it's definitely harder. So if you're using the JXB Tunnel Brace, you're going to use these 2 holes. So we're going to take a pair of our isolation dampers and we're going to put them in these cutouts. And then you're going to take your bolts. You're going to put a small washer on, and then you're going to put the fender washer with the larger hole. Do that for the other one right away. And then we're going to put those up through the top, up through from the bottom. Now on the top side, you'll place isolation damper face down. Make sure all that stays lined up. And then you'll put the washers with the smaller holes in. And then these bolts will be ready to screw into these holes. So now we have nearly the entire thing assembled. We still have access through this hole to get at the bolts that will attach the two halves together. At this point, place your drive shaft clamping bushings in. Notice there's street and track versions, and they are labeled front and back. They're a bit oversized, so don't worry if they're sticking out a little bit. They will clamp down. Same thing on the top one. Get it all ready to go, and then we can go back under the car. Now we're going to take our top half, place it around the bearing, and get this groove lined up with what's left of this center rib. That'll help align it, keep it centered. You're going to get a bolt ready. Bring the tunnel brace up. The smaller cutout is in the front, larger cutout in the back. Feed your bolt up through. You can see it should be sticking out the top here. And then we're going to get that started in the upper portion. Now that we have the shaft lowered, we're going to hook up the carrier and line up these grooves with what's left of the center rib. That'll help it get centered. And just go back and forth. Now we're going to take our isolation dampers, put 2 of them from the top down. Place your fender washers on top. Take your tunnel brace with the small cutout forward, put your bolt up through, put another isolation damper on from bottom going up this time. We're gonna slide the bolt up there, and then we have to get a nut on the top. We're going to do the same on the back side. Nut. Now from the top, you're going to tighten those up. You shouldn't have to hold the bottom because it's going through a slot. Reattach the front of the drive shaft. It's a good time right now to check how the alignment of your bolts are up here on the tunnel brace. If you need to, you can loosen these back up and move the brace front or rear to make the alignment better.